heavily prioritized here in terms of the junglers that are left available, and I would imagine that either one of them is going to go now, or they're both going to be traded in this game.
I mean, this is a tough spot because we did talk about being able to blind your bot lane. Ezreal is importantly up. Ezreal was banned by Top Esports in game number 1. Elk has looked really comfortable on Ezreal. As much as you want to go jungle, if you're talking about blinding a bot lane, if you're talking about starting from there, Ezreal is god damn it.
Yeah.
I'm in so much pain. I'm in so much pain right now. I feel like I stubbed my toe, but it's in my heart.
The dagger through the heart that Top Esports gave you. Unfortunately, I have a decently good idea of what this could potentially lead into. You know, we talked about the Aurora, but really, I'm looking at Jhin as a potential option here. People don't want to hear that. People don't want to see Jhin come in here for Elk. And I understand, you know, rightfully or wrongfully, Jhin has received a reputation. I would imagine that's going to be the pick here for Weibo. Aurora going to be that lock, though. I talked about Xiaohu wanting to play one of those assassins that can be more aggressive in the mid lane. That's it. I mean, you don't want the LeBlanc. There you go. It's the Aurora. The Ezreal taken away on the other side. We will see what TES want to counter with in the mid lane. This is a flex pick as well. Zika has a game of Aurora this split, so you know theoretically this could go either direction, but definitely giving you some power, at least in the side lane early, trying to play for that strong 2v2 with Ezreal potentially on weak side.
How are you feeling about this Caitlyn? I personally like it, but I'm not paid for my opinions.
I think Caitlyn is a strong pick here. I think it's very risky. You are trying to get that massive lead. You need to be able to get those plates down. I love the Caitlyn matchup into Ezreal because he really has no way to be able to contest you at all in the early game, but playing for weak side does open up the opportunity to play more of these playmakers, whether it's something like Nico or, you know, the Bard's banned out. Rakan could potentially be an option here, something that opens up the map more. I would personally prefer that more. They're going to go in the Seraphine direction. It does kind of say that you want to try and contest this 2v2 more than maybe I would expect. Not the direction I personally would have went in, but Fengyue has been more successful on Seraphine than he has on these playmakers, so we'll see if it's just a comfort pick for them.
It can also work really well with the ult to access the back line to lead through something like a Jarvan. I do think that... Now, I'm a Seraphine shill. I really, really enjoy playing Seraphine because I like feeling pretty on the Rift. And... that's something that Fengyue can also feel in this game, given how well this composition, I think, functions around something like a Seraphine who doesn't really have to worry about her AD carry and can instead focus on accessing the backline for Weibo Gaming. But they will need more tools to do that on Top Esports. It can't just be up to Tien. We saw Creme join him last game on the Annie. We can see Zhuan do a similar thing, depending on what direction they want to go, because things like Sion also available for Zhuan, and... while it may not be the fanciest thing in the world, it's going to be darn hard to chew through for Weibo.
I mean, the question is, like, how aggressive do you want to get in terms of these bans, right? Things like Gnar are taken off the board, but with Xin Zhao off the board, do you want to ban Lee Sin? Do you want to ban Naafiri? Like, how early game focused do you think Weibo are going to go in this game? We talked about them needing to get more aggressive. You see this Ion taken off the board. Again, Zika is starting to get his champion pool narrowed down. He's got plenty of options still left in the tank, so... I'm not as concerned right now. I think, you know, the Jace, the Renekton, these are all things that he feels very comfortable on. There are going to be, like, things available for him to take. It's just about if he wants to take that matchup early. My bigger question mark is Jiejie right now in the jungle, pairing up with that Aurora. Do you want to have that aggressive pick with something like Lee Sin that can, you know, push forward aggressive early? Or do you think it's more important right now to potentially get a carry on this team with something like Naafiri to actually give you some mid-game damage?
We still don't know what's being taken into the Aurora. That could very well change the game. I mean, Aurora is going to do what she's going to do regardless. You can't really interrupt her kit in the same ways you can other mid laners, but you can certainly disrupt the amount of pressure that Xiaohu is able to have with the right mid lane counter here. So are Top Esports going to save that for last, or will they pull something up right now? Looks like for the moment, Zhuan will be piloting the Renekton generically strong pick, and that works. That's fine.
Yeah. I mean, this takes away the Aurora flex to topside. I don't think you can play Aurora into Renekton super efficiently, so I think this kind of guarantees that this is going for Xiaohu in the mid lane. We'll just see what they want to do with that topside matchup. I mean, we keep highlighting Zika. Zika was on that Mbessa and was not successful in game number 1. It is really important for him to feel comfortable in whatever matchup he's taking. Skarner would certainly be more set up for this team. You feel like you have enough damage with something like the Aurora in the mid lane. You know, it gives Jiejie more ability to create plays. I worry a little bit about target prioritization and selection on the other side. The only real squishy target right now is the Ezreal, who is not super easy to catch for something like a Skarner. So you definitely have to make sure that you're piloting it well, but you have plenty of setup now available. Just how much pressure do you want to give up to Zika? That's the real question.
I really wish that we had something to deal with. Hold up.
Wow, okay.
Hold up.
I see. Okay.
I don't know if I love this. We were both on the page of, well, Aurora into Renekton doesn't sound great. It still doesn't. My opinion hasn't changed. I'm right here with you.
Yeah, I hate Aurora into Renekton. I think that that's such a difficult matchup to play out. I'm also really not a huge fan of Azir in general. In the meta right now, this champion's hovering around a 40% win rate in competitive play. That's really bad for, the current meta. And we get an aggressive pick in the mid lane as well. The Yone is going to get locked in. These are very, very interesting drafts. First off, narratively, it's important to point out, Creme coming off of a terrible Yone game yesterday. I mean, an absolutely tremendously bad Yone game yesterday. Bit of revenge coming in here. This is a full AD topside for top esports going into, an Aurora, an Azir, and a Skarner that can build armor. This is a very interesting draft that I think, is really going to be made or broken, we'll just say, by some of these early plays.
I mean, you're talking about the armor here. I could certainly see that being a pretty big issue, especially with Skarner. However, I just want to say to Weibo Gaming, and if they win this game, I'm going to look like a fool. But take notes on Top Esports. That's how you draft like Chads. Top Esports.
Yes.
They understood what was going on here. Deny the Ezreal, blind the Renekton, get yourself the generically powerful Jarvan, hold the mid lane pick until you are forcing your opponents into a commitment, and then hit him with the Yone. That was that draft is a dance, and I know you get as excited about this stuff as I do. I feel like Top just sambaed all over this draft. It was beautiful.
I was asking for someone to coordinate, to push the game forward, to be able to control tempo. Top Esports is going to be able to do that in this game with the power they have early. The question is, can Weibo weather the storm, go into that late game, and be able to get their combos off? If not, I think TES could be looking at a pretty fun game number 2 here.
Inspired by the cheers of the crowd, that ward got obliterated. I mean, I really enjoy. I am the kind of scumbag that will take an Oracle's Lens into the level 1 lane simply so that I can destroy a ward for a little extra golden XP. So I'm a big fan of that early on. I will say, not the most exciting thing. Maybe I got a little too excited about it, and that's okay.
Hey, if I was getting my name chanted in an arena full of people, I would also play better. That's just naturally, the vibe and the feel of getting to play in the LPL, right? Like, the fan base is one of the most exciting and passionate in League of Legends, so they're gonna need the support of the fans on the back of this one. Unfortunately, Top Esports definitely feeling that momentum right now. Bot lane actually going fine for them. They hit level 2 first. That's pretty bad for Caitlyn Karma. We'll see if they want to try and trade summoners early. That would definitely be in their favor. But Weibo, drafting this bot lane specifically to try to get a 2v2 advantage they were not able to get in game number 1.
These junglers taking some pretty interesting paths early on, though. We've gone for the sort of vertical jungle angle where Tien goes for an early invade and actually can wrap around on this bot lane. A bot lane that is meant to win and is getting ganked right now. Does burn the heal early, and not too much else going to go in the favor of Top Esports. It's a bit of damage and a single summoner spell out. Technically a win, but honestly, I'm not too inspired by it.
It's fine. Elk passing the check that Gala failed a little bit earlier today when he netted himself right into the tower and didn't survive that early gank, but certainly going to be an interesting setup here with that vertical jungle happening. Jiejie going to be able to try and pressure out this Renekton on the top side. Not sure I really like this for TES. Yes, you do get to control and make sure that this Caitlyn Karma aren't in as good of a spot early on, but they're going to have the shove basically no matter what. It's hard for Jarvan to punish that heavily, and Renekton should be in a great spot in this early laning phase. I would much rather this were flipped if I were Top Esports, with them playing for the top side rather than the bot side. They'll take what they can get right now, but Tien still is going to be able to farm everything and start to make his way up and take this bot crap.
You see the early power of Aurora into Renekton, at least for now. Zika having the inherent range advantage for the first couple of levels, but Aurora should be pretty threatened as we get further into this game. Yes, her items will go up, but once you hit level 6 and you have that big stat stick button on Zweon, things start looking pretty good. Thinking about a regank. Tien gonna actually channel the back and get spotted here. Elk gets knocked up again, and this time actually has to burn the flash. So I appreciate that Tien is able to and willing to repeat gank this simply for the love of the game.
I mean, this is how you punish a vertical jungle. You get summoners on repeat. This Caitlyn Karma wants to push in and be aggressive in the early game. They're not allowed to do that at all, with Tien basically just sitting in the area, but Fengyue is now the threat.
Teleport in. Zweon actually coming in this time. It's JiaQi with the teleport, trying to save his support, and it is not going to work. Elk picks up first blood, and that is a good way to start for Weibo Gaming. You could see the pain in Fengyue's eyes not being able to crash that wave. He's tilted now.
Yeah, I mean, he is tilted as Tien's on vision here, so this gank's going to be really difficult to pull off. I don't think Xiaohu's going to be in any danger here. Yeah, it'll be just fine.
No danger.
He'll be able to make his way out. That's a really, really big mistake from Top Esports. Fengyue, again, is trying to crash the wave, but why are you trying to crash the wave when you have no vision of Skarner and you're playing into Caitlyn Karma? It just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Like, that's just a bit of a mental error, and it's more gold over to Weibo. You spent so many resources on Tien early on, getting JiaQi into a good spot, and while he is technically even in gold here, you don't want to be even in gold with the resources that you've spent onto the bot side. Getting Elk into any position where he might be accelerated is good. Zika's now the target.
Pop the ult and
Great ult.
Gets on out. That is free, by the way. That costs Tien 0 time. However, Jiejie does start up the dragon, and I'm not seeing anybody start moving towards this. Creme is coming off of a recall right now, so isn't really going to be able to get too much done in the way of contesting it in Top Esports. As opposed to in Game 1, you give up the first Drake.
I really don't like this for TES. I think they're looking for desperation plays almost already in terms of these early ganks as we continue to see some pressure onto the bot side. Caitlyn Karma has completely rebounded. They've frozen the wave here, and Tien's going to have to come back down to the bot side in order to try to make this happen. Jiejie is in the area. He's just going to take the crab on spawn. I don't know if Tien even wants to try and fight this. Bot lanes are going to be able to roam first for Weibo.
Ready to punish Jiejie right now, but instead we're going to connect with a little bit of CC onto Hung. Doesn't end up getting punished either. I mean, I will say, in the favor of Jiejie and in the favor of Weibo Gaming overall, this Azir pick has allowed them exactly what we wanted, which is pressure in the mid lane, wave push there, so they can turn it into other things. And they've executed on that.
I'm just so shocked that Weibo didn't try and take advantage of their freeze more. They had them exactly where they wanted. Yes, priority is technically in the favor of Top Esports there, but it's not entirely through their own doing. The trap line was there, and Caitlyn should be perfect to set up for those plays. It just wasn't prepared correctly. Now Jiejie's getting his blue invaded in Tien, now capitalizing on a couple of mistakes from the bottom side from Weibo.
No ult for Creme this time around. Actually, this can be punished. Coming down to a smite fight for the blue, one that Tien will win. Weibo get anything off it. Xiaohu still has ult and will use it to shuffle Fengyue right back into his team, but trades his life away for it as Tien picks up the kill on... Actually, it's JiaQi that picks up the kill with the True Shot Barrage on him. So 1-1 for our AD carries.
Yeah, very important to get that kill onto the Ezreal. I mean, you're looking at this comp towards the later part of the game and getting a little concerned just because, again, you really don't have a lot of damage mitigation on the side of TES. You're basically flying blind in your full AD as well going into a Skarner. So getting any sort of kills onto an Ezreal that's going to be able to poke out at the beginning of these fights is important. They've been able to recover what was a gold deficit at the beginning of this game. And it's basically because every lane is just doing a good job of being able to settle in. Elk has done a decent job of catching up in terms of CS, but that kill helps to even out what was, some pressure early on and really recover a good lane state. This is also going to be a part of the game where TES continue to get more aggressive around some of these neutral objectives. 6 seconds on these grubs spawning, and that's going to be a really important objective for both.
Still have yet to see Zoyan really use or abuse this Renekton. Even as Zika was forced to use his ult a little bit earlier, he's now got that back up, a little bit more safety for the Aurora. And Xiaohu dodges and engaged from Creme and is going to engage right back with the help of Jiejie, with the help of Hong. Tien is in the area, and again, top esports are going for these plays, but they feel like desperation, feel like they're clawing something back.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like they're able to find the engages that they're looking for right now. They do get Weibo onto the bottom side of the map, which is important, of course, for these neutral objectives. But Jiejie gonna be looking here at red buff. The fighting is definitely not over just yet.
Up comes the knockup onto Jiejie. But Tien, no Cataclysm for the next 2 seconds, can't punish it. JiaQi Love comes over as well, and a flash will come out of Hong to help him survive. Red buff not going to be taken, not going to be finished for top esports as they keep looking for the next play. But Void Grub spawned in this time. Red buff remains up. We're going for Scuttle Crabs right now. I mean, top esports are positioning very aggressively, but they are getting very little for their time.
Yeah, I mean, the gold is neutral, but Weibo are also kind of failing on a lot of the plays they're looking for right now. The game just kind of feels like it's at a bit of a stalemate in terms of who's going to be able to break it open. I think Grubs are going to be a really important fight. Minute on Dragon as well, which is going to be decently relevant towards where these comps want to go direction-wise. If Weibo do feel comfortable about scaling into the late game, we could see them just say, whatever, man, you can have your Grubs. We're just going to, you know, wait out Dragon, get vision priority there, and start to take it. So I'm going to use the ultimate just to trade here onto the top side. So definitely ceding at least some pressure over to Weibo Gaming, which could open up the door for this Skarner.
Be another teleport to come out of him as JiaQi Love does flash the net, but still gets flashed on himself. One last Q would do it, but Elk, from a little too far away, will manage to channel the ace in the hole, winning the 1v1.
He wins the 1v1 onto the bot side, both AD carries blowing a lot of resources in that exchange, but it's Tien who's also going to be winning onto the top side here by grabbing those grubs, uses the ultimate to get Jiejie out of the pit. Swayon looking really aggressive, realizing that Skarner's decently low health. He does have to be a bit careful, but it's a crazy map. Once again, how can you expect anything else from these two? Elk now 2-0 on the Caitlyn. The scaling for Weibo is very real. Like, you're talking about a small gold lead for them. You are looking at a comp that is just going to be easier to execute in the later game with Skarner going in and the damage profile that they have on display. So we'll see if they can utilize it well. Elk being accelerated certainly helps things out.
One concern that I have for Weibo's scaling is whether Jiejie will be an effective enough frontline for them. So far, he has been, but he really does have to be on point with these impales around critical team fights. The second dragon approaches. This one's going to go the way of top esports. Not fighting here would be ideal for them, but they're going to fight it out anyway, as Jiejie, a little bit lost on target selection, is still going to find an impale onto 2. Will it save his life, or will he fall afterwards? Jiejie manages to survive, gets away underneath the tower, and the turnaround's just not quite there for Weibo, who lose the dragon, but not much else.
Yeah, we're going to get a replay of the 1v1 onto the bottom side. JiaQi Love feels confident to go for this play, and he absolutely should as Ezreal, but the barrier comes through. JiaQi Love does really well to flash the Q coming in from Elk, but Elk just realizes, hey, I've got crit, I've got ultimate. As long as I don't get hit by one more Q, I'm just fine. I can make the space, I can get my Q off, I can blast that ultimate, and I can pick up my kill. It's very strong from a player in Elk that, in split number 1, we were talking about potentially being an MVP caliber player. He needs to step up here as Tien's way overextended.
This time the ace in the hole will not secure the kill, but man, like, Tien is having a really difficult time on this Jarvan, which is crazy because he had such a good game on Vi. But similar levels of impact, both early and mid, and yet we're not seeing the same Tien take to the Rift.
It's definitely been a very different Jarvan game than, you know, what we've seen from him normally. A lot more aggressive in game 1 on the Vi, but definitely looked for some of those plays. The lucky thing for him is that Cataclysm is going to be very valuable against this comp later in the game that we go. There are some mobility tools on Weibo Gaming. You've got the Azir, you've got Skarner, even Caitlyn can get out of the Cataclysm in the right circumstance with the net, but you gotta be really careful about making sure that you're not targeted early on. Tien's still gonna have a pretty big influence being the primary form of engage for this top esports team, and it's especially going to be relevant in a couple of minutes as we get closer and closer to these objectives and we start to complete those first items.
2 minutes left to Rift Herald, 3 to the Dragon, and Tien going for yet another invade will lose this Smite fight. It is that trademarked aggression we're seeing out of him, but Hong giving us a little bit of his as well, with Elk throwing in the Piltover Peacemaker just for good measure. Jiejie burns through Tien's ult on top side, and Creme uses one of his own to collect his first kill of the game. Finally, Zika's Aurora will be punished, and it turns into top lane control for top esports.
Creme getting a kill on Yone. That's something we're really excited to see because it's not always the most common occurrence, as we learned yesterday, but still a very big topside play and gold into the pocket of the right members here for top esports as Xiaohu could be overextended. He's already used dash.
He's got a lot of health out of JiaQi Love, but Tien waiting for him is going to have the encore connect by Fengyue just to set him up. A double kill gets given over to JiaQi Love, who despite losing a lot on the bot side, might actually get first tower here. Top esports managed to secure that even in the face of a Caitlyn pushing down bot lane on her own.
It's all gone wrong in the past couple of minutes as Tien is making his way bot lane now. Looks like he's going to catch the wave instead of immediately go for the Caitlyn, but this has gone from bad to really, really bad for Weibo incredibly quickly. I don't know what Xiaohu is doing in the mid lane there. He uses his dash to try to get away. Some damage is going to go down on the Jarvan. It's completely negligible here, but we're now looking at a 2k gold lead and teleport's coming down on the Elk.
Surely this is going to be trapped as right out of it, Swayon, yes, does eat the CC, but top esports, they really want to punish Elk, and Elk is playing in the way that makes me hate playing against Caitlyn. Just throwing in damage because I hate you.
Yeah, I mean, Elk's posturing aggressively, and he kind of has to. He's the only one with any gold right now on Weibo. But that's a resource burned. That's a teleport burned onto the bottom side a minute before Dragon spawns. That's at least something to get out of that play. I'm not really sure why you commit there. If you're Zwayon on the Renekton, it's almost impossible to be able to catch a Caitlyn from a teleport play, but still, we are now sitting at a 2k gold lead for TES, and they're going to use that to get as much vision control as they can here in the river as, like I said, that Dragon's going to be up pretty darn soon.
Well, we get to look forward to the Dragon fight that I'm pretty sure is cooking. Both these teams seem very confident in their strong points right now. What'll really matter is item breakpoints. JiaQi Love currently has Trinity Force, and we're still waiting on Elk to back himself. A BF Sword is great on Caitlyn, but it's not third Dragon fight material. So this reset really is going to matter with 20 seconds left, and yet Creme will interrupt it, giving top esports an even better chance at the Dragon.
Oh, that's absolutely massive. If they get out here, that's obviously really good for them, but Hong is stuck.
Hong is gonna die. There's just no way out of this. This is this is truly tragic for Weibo, who actually had a pretty good chance at contesting the Dragon, but this time will not be able to do it. Nice ult on Swayon, who fortunately had not actually struck Jiejie to pick up any tower aggro. And the Dragon will be started as Creme gets aggressive on Xiaohu underneath the tower. Looks like Dragon.
Everything has already been burned for Weibo. It's gone. It's gone. Tien just gets to get this for free. That's what happens when you burn Skarner ultimate in the mid lane. You just don't really have tools to be able to fight from there. It just seems like Weibo don't really know what they're supposed to do with this comp. It doesn't feel like they're very comfortable with the picks, and now they're just trying to scramble. Down 2k gold, they want to get anything they can on the map, which is why they're trying to pressure out this Rift Herald. You can see the bot lane roaming there as well, but they're going to need another fight to do it.
So what's changed exactly, Kman? Because we went from top esports looking for, in air quotes, to quote us, by the way, desperation plays, to now Weibo feeling like they're in the same position when I'm not noticing any huge objectives that have gone over, any major team fights that have shifted this. Feels like top esports kept rolling the dice, and eventually it came up for them.
I mean, some catastrophically bad plays from Weibo have really tipped the scales away from them in the fact that they end up having to burn ult onto the top side with Skarner, and that really takes away their fighting capabilities. And then the Xiaohu play mid lane where he's overextended. I mean, that was such a huge punish, as Elk is now in danger.
Surely Elk survives. I mean, we know Creme is fine because of Soul Unbound, but Elk actually having its survivability doubted by me there does make the mid lane tower question all the more problematic, because remember, triple Void Grubs again went to top esports, so for every win they are able to secure, it means so much more, especially with this Rift Herald.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna get a lot of gold here.
Nice encore.
Yeah.
And nice heal. Tien lives. There's a teleport
Zika.
into the backside, but Zika does not get caught by the beat drop. This has the looks of a winning fight for Weibo as Zika engages, but he engages on his own. The rest of Weibo can't follow up, and Creme once again has access to the backline, almost taking out Hung. And it's JiaQi Love who picks up the Aurora on the backside. That is a devastating sequence for Weibo, who looked so confident and lost so much.
If there was ever a fight that was going to be picked by Weibo, it was probably that one. Zika on the flank angle should be able to find a priority target and somehow, some way lands none of the abilities. If there is a weakness to Aurora as a champion, it's the cooldowns. If you do not hit the abilities, you do not do damage. And unfortunately for Weibo, they just can't find it in that fight. This looks like a good setup. Top Esports feel overextended. The ult lands onto Tien, but it's a great Seraphine ultimate to end up really disengaging Tien and keeping him alive at the start of the fight. At this point, you just need to make sure that the priority targets are focused, even if it's Fengyue. But it doesn't matter, we're already back.
Creme, once again, dodging out on the ultimate, winning the 1v1 against Xiaohu, while Hong is left hanging. And Top Esports collect another kill. This is again off of a desperation play for Weibo. While this game has gone from desperate to desperate, the fact that it has shifted sides has been the most important part. Weibo are now the ones fishing for plays, and they're fishing onto JiaQi Love, who's playing literally frickin' Ezreal.
They are trying to get any desperation play, but you know who's stepping up here? Creme on this Yone. My Creme excitement is back to a 100. The meter is off the charts here for me right now, and he's just having such a phenomenal game on this Yone. He's playing so aggressive. He's controlling side lanes. When we talked about him as a prospect coming through the OMG system and getting picked up by Top Esports, what was he really good at? It was this exact thing, being able to play these more aggressive carries and catching out weak side threats. That's exactly what he does here. They feel like they find a pick onto the Yone, but he flashes the engage from Xiaohu, and I'm sorry, Azir, you are not winning the 1v1 with Yone at this point in the game. Hong is left out to dry, and at this point, he just gets bursted down. This Yone is incredibly strong, and he keeps taking full advantage of Weibo Gaming.
Which is wild considering that he really did not have fun in the early lane phase. We got a little, yes, that is exactly what we're talking about. Creme's Yone has regained a lot of faith, made up for a lot of lost ground in their previous series, and now is looking straight into the eyes of this bot lane tower, giving a little smooch and taking it down. Tier 2's falling. Well, Tier 1 in the top lane gonna be the answer for Weibo Gaming. It is a trade technically, but still a trade up for Top Esports as they inherit even more map control, taking down 2 Tier 2 towers in a single minute.
2 Tier 2 towers for a Tier 1. You also get full priority on Dragon. They have no way to be able to walk into this fight. It's just all going wrong for Weibo Gaming on the map. And again, I don't want to put too much blame onto them, but there are some crucial mistakes that have been made in terms of both the execution of teamfights and even really the setups. Xiaohu has just been overextended. This Azir pick has not worked. Flexing the Aurora top lane has not felt like the answer here for Zika. They're desperately trying to catch people out with this Skarner, who should eventually be getting stronger because of the lack of damage diversification on the other side. It's full AD on the top side here for Top Esports, but look at the build for Jiejie. He hasn't stacked that armor up just yet. He's still going to be pretty squishy at this gold deficit, so this is really looking grim for Weibo, who desperately need Top Esports to make a big mistake in the side lane now.
And Weibo's composition doesn't look as good when it is the one having to engage, because Skarner engages are pretty telegraphed. What you'd really like is to be able to counter-engage, to be able to kite back, especially with something like Caitlyn. And yet Weibo are the ones showing up in objectives second, not having their vision set up properly to keep Top Esports from being in positions to make pre-fight picks, pre-objective picks. Something like this Baron going down now, I think is more symptomatic of the gold lead being an issue than anything else. But around those first couple of dragons, we really saw a Weibo that, while he picked up the first one, we're not there in position for the second one. We're losing picks.
Baron just gone?
Third one. Now they've got to send Jiejie into the pit.
They're trying to bait a fight here.
Tien flashes forward. Encore is going to connect. So is a big impale from Jiejie. But his AD carry is dead and gone. Into the backline is going to go Xiaohu again. Feels like he's got to pick the world up on his shoulders. And while he takes down Fengyue, he will do not much else. It is a double kill collected by JiaQi Love, and Zika walking this one out while being beat down by a J4 and Renekton, who will quickly turn their eyes back onto a Baron. It is a very convincing fight for top esports.
It's just so beautiful, Dia. The combos, the follow-through in terms of the CC, it's everything you want to see out of top esports. It's TN finding a priority target on the backline with the Cataclysm and immediately Creme saying, all right, bet, I'm ulting with you onto that backline. And there's no way to outplay this if you were Weibo at this point in the game. The flash engage coming through from TN. Look at Creme's position. He is immediately like, yeah, I will take the life of Elk. Yeah, it's a 3-man impale, but your damage dealer is dead. All of these resources onto Caitlyn in the early game, and for what? At this point, you don't really have a way to fight. Xiaohu engages, but it's much too late. And now at this point, you're looking at a map that's completely broken open with almost no towers available for Weibo. Baron on the side of top esports. This game could be over very, very shortly.
Tiny bit of criticism here. Elk did have flash up for that play. Him getting away from that engage was possible, and it really does. While there are a lot of things that have disadvantaged Weibo coming into the point where we're fighting for Baron, there are avoidable mistakes, and in this particular case, Weibo did not avoid them, something that we've seen plague them before. Now, it is their turn to make yet another play, yet another out of a little bit of desperation. It's not going to land. Top esports, walk that out, no summoners, no ults, no nothing.
It's just, again, like, what are you looking for? You can't engage on Jarvan. Jarvan's certainly not going to let you engage on the bot lane. I don't really know what Weibo is even trying to find in these exchanges. They're trying to hold their base, but for now it's becoming more and more difficult.
Looking for a flank right now, but in goes the Encore and the beat drop, locking up Jiejie for a second too long. Tien gonna ult in the front line as he goes down. Zweion's already all over Elk, who will fall once more. Zika disengaging into a Renekton is not going to feel comfortable, especially not when a Fate Sealed is all over him. Zweion manages to survive, gets to look for a little bit more. Top esports may have lost their jungler, but in return for his life, they will pick up not one, but 2 inhibitors.
Oh, Creme was looking to try and end the game there with an engage onto Jiejie. They're not going to be able to find the damage, so they have to back off. But, oh, wouldn't you look at that? 30 seconds on Dragon. Perfect time to reset, get back out on the map, and get that Ocean Soul, which is going to make things even more difficult for Weibo. But JiaQi Love, he got his back stopped!
Is actually going to collect a kill.
TP coming in.
Another ace in the hole. Takes him out. Top esports, they've got the gold lead to actually fight for this, even from a disadvantage. Zweion will answer with a kill on the jungler as well, even with JiaQi Love backing on Vision. Top esports still trade up 2 for 1, and a dragon to boot.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes you just have to give over that bounty to give them a little bit of confidence before taking it immediately back away. Ocean Soul will be acquired here by Top Esports. Again, look at this comp with Ocean Soul, Renekton with Ocean Soul, Jarvan with Ocean Soul, Yone with Ocean Soul. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty scared right now for Weibo Gaming with the position that they're in. 10k gold lead here. It's really just a matter of how they want to push in. And the question now just becomes, if you're Weibo, you know, what do you look at and take away from this series with? Because really, at the end of the day, we highlighted the solo laner so heavily in the pre-show, both for Weibo and for Top Esports, but Weibo solo laners have just not been good enough here today. Both Zika and Xiaohu have been really far behind the 8 ball.
I will be honest with you. I think it is 2 things, but it is a draft issue that they need to solve outside. Inside the game, yes, that there are things that you can be doing better. I think the issue is that there's not enough comfortability on a variety of champions. There are not a lot of blindable options for Weibo Gaming. They have too many places that they want to counterpick. You need more players that are comfortable playing generically strong things and actually succeeding on them. And if you don't have that, you're always going to be gimmicky.
Feels like a gimmick right now. Weibo pushing in, or Weibo trying to defend their base Creme. Looking to end the game.
You know, if an occasional ult goes wide, that's all right. But you know what doesn't? The Encore that connects with 3 members of Weibo Gaming. Did still ultimately have Tian fall as Jiejie tries to get away into his fountain, but will still have to invest the flash to do so. And Tian, having come back from his GA, is ready to tango once again. Looking at these Nexus towers and the end of the game. Weibo down Xiaohu are going to have to operate with just Elk as their damage, who is surviving, if not thriving, on the Caitlyn. But with both Nexus towers down, very little left to do. Top Esports, Ocean Soul and all, are running rampant over Weibo Gaming and healing through every little bit of damage that Weibo are throwing out at them. A triple kill goes to JiaQi Love, who on this Ezreal was never truly touched. And Top Esports pick up a 2-0, reversing the way that this series went the last time and ending the downward spiral they had been on.
May I just be the first to say, welcome back, Top Esports. It's good to see you again. We really missed you. This is the version of them that we've been waiting for to come back this week. Certainly, there must have been some concern inside the building of a 0-6 week after having not lost for weeks and weeks and weeks since Series 1 of the entire split. This is the Top Esports we were waiting. I talked about adversity. I talked about, you know, this team not really running into problems throughout a majority of this regular season. They had finally had their backs up against the wall going against the team that put them at the beginning of their slump. And you know what? I think we had every single possible question answered. Every single player on the Rift absolutely popped off here today.
Yeah, I mean, this felt really good for Top Esports, but I will bring our conversation back around to what we were talking about in the first couple minutes of this game, because I think against a better team, Top Esports lose game 2, and by a pretty significant margin. Like you were talking about, the first couple of minutes of the game were really rough for Top Esports. They've clearly got something to work on heading out of this series as well.
Certainly some macro to clean up. That's kind of what you expect from an LPL team right now. It just feels like these games are so chaotic, and you know, that's what makes the LPL so fun. But you're right. I mean, the early game was certainly not perfect. It felt like they were giving things over for free, not really contesting when they needed to early on in the game. I naturally look at a comp with Renekton, Jarvan, Yone, Ezreal, like this full AD lineup as something that is eventually going to become, you know, a little bit more difficult to play as the game goes along, especially when you're staring down Azir and Yone and even like a 4-item Caitlyn. So I don't really love the idea of giving things over for free. I want this team to be greedy and aggressive. When they've been at their best, it's when Tien is a psychopath, when he embodies the spirit of greed and, you know, not understand, you know, just says, I'm not trading anything. I want to try and get everything on the map. That's when, you know, Tien and Top Esports in general look at their best. And at least we kind of got to see a glimpse of that there towards the end of game 2, but definitely want to see that more at the beginning of games.
I mean, perhaps Tien playing a little more selflessly was the issue, because from my perspective, I mean, he was ganking bot lane twice, turned that immediately into a top lane gank. I didn't see a Tien that was inactive, but perhaps one that, yeah, but was not playing for himself, was more playing for his lanes and a little bit lost on how to do that. Would you say that's fair?
I certainly think that the vertical jungle at level 1 did not help. I think generally he always kind of had the game plan of wanting to go topside and try to make something happen early on, get his Renekton into a good spot. The moment you get that vertical jungle going on, it's cooked. Like, there's really no way that you can play for that Renekton, and I think your game plan does go out the window a little bit. It does disrupt Weibo in this game quite a bit as well. It means they can't play for the Caitlyn and the Karma nearly as much, but clearly that ended up working out for Top Esports in the end, because even with the Caitlyn having 2 kills, it didn't really matter going into the late game.
So, serious question. I know we're not giving Fengyue MVP because we all saw what happened at level 3. Are we giving JiaQi Love MVP? Because he did a lot of damage. He did his job correctly.
I think...
could do.
For me, I'm biased. I think this Yone was the star of the game for me. I think the, obviously the 1v1 not going JiaQi Love's way. He misses the Q by like a fraction in that fight. It is so close. If he lands the Q, he kills Elk. And if he doesn't land the Q, he dies. So just ends up coming down to whether or not you hit the skill shot. But to me, I do believe that Creme was kind of the big difference maker in this game. He was across the map just nearly as much as Tien was throughout a lot of these plays, and was finding some really great ultimates in these fights, following up on the Jarvan engages as well. I think Tien does have an argument in the same vein, but Fengyue was excellent. I mean, some of those ultimates from the Seraphine at the end of that game were essential towards winning these fights. I think it's fair for me to say that maybe Creme would be my player of the game, and maybe Fengyue would be my player of the series as a whole.
Sure. Yeah, I could see Fengyue's player of the series, especially because, like you said, the Encores really were hitting quite hard later on, something that we mentioned in draft as being a strength compositionally for Top Esports was that they had a lot of setup for these, and definitely managing to execute on that I think is a good bar to set. But I like your Creme highlight here, especially given the contextual turnaround that we know happened for him. Because Creme had such a bad series on Yone previously, being able to come back and have a good series. Great? No, I would say good. Would you say great?
It was good. I think game number 1 could have been better. I think there were definitely some moments in game 1 where you're like, I want to see you push your advantage more. The Annie was great. He just wasn't perfect, right? Like, there were definitely some moments you wanted to see some shove go out. Either way, like, one of the things that Creme has always been criticized for has been his inability to play for the team as much as he plays for himself. He gets this reputation of being very meta-dependent because of his champion pool. I think what we saw today was a player that was much evolved beyond that. And that's really, when I talk about the Creme meter being off the charts and at number 10 for me, it's because the version of him that we see now is willing to drop waves, go top lane and pick up a kill for his top laner. He's willing to, drop a mid wave and go and skirmish with his jungler. These are the things that he wasn't always willing to do at a high-end level. He's always been a good side laner. You put all of that together, he can become one of the scariest players in the entire league.
I mean, we've certainly been given a show by Creme in the last couple of days. A check-in on how this series has turned out, though, is an important one, as currently Weibo did not manage to catch up to IG given their loss here, and Top Esports will maintain their lead over AL. Important to note that is despite losing in an 0-2 to AL just yesterday. IG still have a game coming up today, funnily enough, against AL. The teams that beat Top Esports and Weibo Gaming yesterday are playing each other today. So IG has a chance to pass up, or at least catch up, to NIP on the leaderboard, and AL has a chance to keep themselves even with Top Esports by the end of the day. Group Ascend standings had the potential to change a lot today. I don't think that they've actually changed that much, but all good, all good.
Yeah, unfortunately, Weibo WE eating some more losses towards the bottom of those standings, but definitely a good one coming up with Anyone's Legend and Invictus. AL have been on fire as of late. It feels like they're really starting to find their form in terms of their macro again. And IG, as up and down as they've looked, they've got a new mid laner in there, and we know what can happen in the LPL when you make some roster changes. Sometimes you just get that natural buff. So very excited for this final series coming in.
Yeah, you can certainly look forward to the games that we've got coming up, IG versus AL. And I'm not just saying you at home. I'm talking to you, Kman, because you'll be back. I will not. I will be in the audience joining everyone else and typing things about the traitorous hair-cutting man that you are, but you look good.
I'm so sorry.
Good. It has been a wonderful series to commentate with you. Top Esports and Weibo Gaming going the way of Top Esports, 1-for-1 overall with each other, and Top Esports making a big recovery to close out this Saturday as IG and AL take each other on next.